It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Today we've got a beer from Vale of Glamorgan Brewery. Now I've been reviewing this brewery's beers for, let's roll my sleeves up. God, one of the first beers I've ever reviewed on my YouTube channel 14 years ago was a beer. Can you remember the Tiger Wood controversy back in the day? I think he was having an affair. Well, they made a beer called Tiger Wood. So of course you would, part of the, I don't know too much about golf, but apparently a wood is a type of golf stick, but it was spelled Tiger Wood as in W-O-U-L-D, would have an affair type of thing. And I think he had his arm around a woman on the bottle. It was all, the reason why I reviewed that beer is because it kind of went national. It went kind of, it was in newspapers, the beer, and quite back in the day, I suppose 14 years ago, you could probably get away with that stuff back then, couldn't you? But not so much these days. So this is more of a safe bet, this one from Vale of Glamorgan Brewery, and this is their Jackson's Black Oyster Shell IPA. 6% ABV, 440 milliliter can, black as the deep sea. This won a great taste in 2023. So without further ado, let's get it out into a glass and see what we get. Oh, so in terms of the name, Jackson's is a cafe over Barry Island, and Jackson's Bay, which is the cafe and the beer is based off, is next to Barry Island. It's the beach over from Barry Island to your left, past Nell's Point. Probably not too much in the way of oysters round that way. One finger, tan coloured head. I nearly said off-white, but it's kind of definitely a tan coloured head there. Jet black beer in the glass, good levels of carbonation, not much in the way of sediment there in the bottom of the glass, but it looks pretty tidy, doesn't it? It looks kind of a well-behaved beer. So I've already reviewed the golden version of this beer with light malts. This one seems to be the same beer, but with some roasted malt. They've used the same kind of hops. You can smell the similarities in the hops. I just reviewed the light version just the other day. Okay, so the aroma is of a little bit of treacle, a little bit of roasted malt, and it's very, very hoppy, quite kind of orange peel-like and grapefruit-like. Yeah, that smells pretty decent. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Oh, that is interesting. That's full on roasty, toasty. Lots of bitterness coming through on that beer. More of a black stout. And they actually named it as a, so they called it, they put oyster shell in between black IPA. So this is a black IPA that's been brewed with oysters. But rather than call this a black IPA, I think I would have been tempted to have called this a hoppy stout with oysters. Oyster stout. Marston's made a great oyster stout for years and years, and so did Young's Brewery, I believe. So just to call it a hoppy oyster stout, I think would have fitted better. When I think of black IPA, now this is really roasty. Lots of bitterness coming through on the back end, lots of bit of sweet caramel, bitter dark chocolate. You know the chocolate you can buy in the supermarkets? They're like kind of like 80% cocoa. It's like that kind of bitterness from that 80% bar of dark chocolate. Also, some bitter coffee in there as well. So lots of roasted bitterness coming through. But the thing is with IPA, certainly black IPA, definitely black IPA, is that it wasn't supposed to be like that. The first black IPAs that came out of America, certainly the one from Stone Brewing Company, the sublimely self-righteous, that was like drinking a hoppy golden ale, but it was black. That was the magic behind it. It was a case of you close your eyes and you think you're drinking a golden beer. You open your eyes and bang, it's black. That was the mystery. That was the idea behind it. That was the wonder. That's why black IPA became so popular. But this isn't. I'm not saying it's not popular. I'm just saying this is much more of a hoppy stout. A lovely beer, I might add. The roasted malt has kind of combined with the hops to offer flavours of plum and fig and prune, and then some grapefruit and some passion fruit and some orange peel, fleshy blood orange. But it's really kind of leaning towards being quite a bitter beer. I like it. I like my bitter beers, I really do. A little bit of sweetness here, lots of bitterness on the back end. It's very difficult to taste the oysters in this style of beer. You're really going to kind of struggle with that. With all of that bitterness, I challenge anybody to find the oysters in the beer. But it's decent. I can see why it won a Great Taste Award. It's a pretty decent looking beer. You can rock it back and forth. Good carbonation chasing the head up the glass. Good head retention. It's a nice looking beer. It's got a nice aroma. A nice taste, but definitely a hoppy stout rather than a black IPA. So what do they say about this beer? Probably not much. Banging black IPA with bags of citrus and pine, complemented by toasty and chocolate notes, and an interesting salinity from the use of oyster shells in the brew. There we go. Water, barley, wheat, hops, yeast, and oyster shells. If you see it, buy it. If you're around the Barry area, you'll probably pick this up in Jackson's, the cafe. You could head over to the Vale of Glamorgan Brewery over at Atlantic Trading Estate there. I think they're number 42 at Atlantic Trading Estate. Let's have a look. 42 Atlantic Business Park. They have a little tap room there if you want to use their tap room. It's open at weekends. Yeah, rating for this beer. It's a 7 out of 10 for me. 7 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.